It's a bloodbath in the cryptocurrency market that all of us had feared and many were waiting for. Several fortunes have been wiped in the past few days, with even the mightiest of digital currencies having the ground swept away from under their feet. It all started with Terra Luna, a cryptocurrency which has lost 99.9% or almost all of its value at this stage. And to discuss this crypto crash, I'm joined by several guests. Sathvik Vishwanath, co-founder and CEO, Unocoin. Sharat Chandra, the Vice President, Research and Strategy, EarthID, a crypto expert. Vatsal Kanakiya, Principal and CTO at 100x.vc. And my colleague, Aayush Ailawadi, the tech editor of BT, live from London. And as we discuss these numbers, I just want to give a quick rundown to all our viewers. Bitcoin has recovered 7.27%, so has Ethereum and even Tether. But there are other cryptocurrencies which have taken a massive knock. I come to you first, Vatsal, for a quick recap of what really panned out. Terra Luna, stablecoin, completely destabilizing the crypto world, moving from 118 to 0. Now, this was not what the promise of cryptocurrencies was to investors all across the world and particularly in India.
Yeah, yesterday, actually the last week has been pretty wild. Just for some context, Terra Luna, the whole project was around the concept of building a stable coin, right? UST was the stable coin pegged to a dollar, which means one UST will always be equal to $1. And it was not really backed by any actual fiat currency. It was algorithmically stable, right? What that means is they had mechanisms, in their algorithm which allowed them to maintain that dollar peg. That typically happened by allowing one UST to always be exchanged for $1 of Luna, which is the other coin, right? Typically, they expected people to find arbitrage whenever the value or the peg of UST moved, and leverage that arbitrage to bring it to a dollar.
Vatsal, I'm interrupting you. And the reason I'm interrupting is I want to keep this simple for a vast majority of investors, especially the millennials. They didn't know of all of this technicality, and it takes time to understand that it is UST and not USD. All of these dollar pegs, pretty much artificial. Janet Yellen herself has called it out. Very simple question. Why did something get wiped off the face of this earth? If crypto was an asset and it was even called a stable coin, please understand for the general viewer, how has it disappeared?
I guess the simplistic way of putting this would be a bank run.
Okay.
Just it created panic. Once it depegged the first time, while the LFG, which is the foundation, which is like a central bank for the whole Terra Luna ecosystem, tried to bring it up before they could. Lot of panic in the ecosystem, lot of shorting, lot of selling, which flooded the whole marketplace, and just it became a death spiral and just crashed. And that
a
led
death
to panic
spiral. Hold that thought there. A death spiral. Let's take that point up. Sharat Chandra, a death spiral, a bank run, loss of confidence. This wasn't something that was supposed to happen at least a few months earlier, before the crypto story started souring. And if I may also add here, this was precisely what the Indian authorities seem to have been warning off record and on record. Sharat Chandra.
Yeah, so I think we have to make a clear distinction between the stable coin, what we're discussing here. There are two types of stable coins. One is collateralized, as in backed by certain assets, like say USDC, which is backed by the US dollar reserves. So similarly, in case of non-collateralized or algorithmic stable coins, because there's no underlying asset backing these stable coins, so they are more prone to bank runs or more prone to redemption risk. And what happened here is there was an algorithm which was determining the supply, and again the price was linked to that. And since this is not the first time a stable coin has failed, if you look at the recent past, 2 years ago, the same founder, Do Kwon, was also involved with a stable coin called Basis Cash, and it also failed. And last year, Mark Cuban, one of the prominent investors at Shark Tank, He also lost a fortune in another stable coin called Iron. It was also an algorithmic stable coin. So we have to be clear about the stable coins with respect to assets. So they are asset-backed stable coins and algorithmic stable coins.
So Sharat, I'm glad you've told me something that I didn't know. That while it may be called a stable coin, one may have some assets backing it and one may have pure air. I'll come back to you because I want to keep it quick and snappy. Ayush, I don't know whether I should say good morning or good afternoon in what seems to be fairly sunny environment that you are in. But the crypto world is not so sunny. There's a lot of gloom and doom. There is fear and people don't know where to run to. And I can bet, we don't have the numbers, but there must be a lot of Indians, millennials especially, who have burned their fingers and their wallet in the Luna crash. Ayush, you'll have to unmute yourself. We couldn't hear a word.
Apologies. I hope you can hear me now. In
Yes.
fact, just to answer your question, Siddharth, even the Indian community out here, and there's a bunch of people I've been speaking to from our continuing Business Today coverage here in London who are talking about what's happening in the crypto world for the past couple of days. We've obviously seen the Chief Technology Officer, Terra, also come out with a statement. You know, it's interesting that a lot of these conversations happen on Discord servers. That Discord server was actually shut down yesterday for people in the community actually dealing with Terra, and they said that we don't want any more speculation in this space. But there are calls from the CTO of actually trying to stabilize ship and maybe rework the code and stuff like that. But it's interesting because here where I am in London, there was a UK Treasury report only last month which actually talks about regulating stablecoins. Now, a guest earlier told you the difference between different types of stablecoins, and I think that becomes imperative when a lot of people have burnt their hands with this particular fiasco that's happened in the past 22 hours.
Ayush, we've been deconstructing the crypto world quite extensively at Business Today, at India Today, and I think we are serving a certain amount of consumer purpose. The key question that we have always asked, and I repeat, is this too technical, too complex for the average Joe on the street, especially in India, to invest in the hope of very high returns? And is this a classic example of the risks that are attached to crypto investments?
Spot on. To put it very simply, this is far too convoluted a subject just for not just the average Joe, for anyone, anywhere, even people who understand financial markets. I cover technology extensively on Business Today with you guys, and I really think that even I am in a space where I'm learning every day. A lot of my friends, millennials, Gen Z, who are actually trying to invest in this space, are relying on YouTube videos for their form of education. So you're right. But there's another thing that I also want to mention was that, like any other financial instrument, and you know this best, Siddharth, 1 to 5% of your net worth is as much as any wise crypto investor puts in the crypto markets. So yes, we can call it a bloodbath, crypto winter, and these are tough times. But like you said at the start of the show, things have sort of stabilized since the last time we were reporting this yesterday. So
absolutely.
Yes, it's a bad period, and yes, things have recovered.
Absolutely. In fact, there is a recovery, but that may not take away the pain of those who are seeing empty wallets with zero in them. Vatsal, I'm coming to you, and as I come to you, I just want to request our producers to play out one particular fact on screen, which is the market cap. Just in November 2021, the crypto universe had a market cap of nearly $3 trillion. On the 1st of May, and that's just around a fortnight ago, it came down to 1.72 trillion, and today it's 1.3 trillion. Now, these are massive numbers. These are dollars, not even rupees that we are talking about. But, sir, is this kind of a fall indicative of the crypto story, the shining crypto story, the best bet for young people to invest, those who don't believe in government, those who believe in Web3, those who believe in a deregulated, de-licensed world? Is this the bottom being knocked out of those kinds of thoughts?
It's a very tough time for everybody. Obviously, we've been reading cases of individuals losing all their wealth, some unfortunately, taking their lives, and just very unfortunate times for everyone. Particularly for the industry, I would say, I in fact, Matt Levin wrote a very good blog on this last night. He said, this is the first time we're starting to see crypto have effects, corollary effects on real markets as well, right? Regular markets, on regular people outside of the crypto bubble, which is not necessarily, well, obviously it's bad, but it might be a sign that crypto is in fact going mainstream,
Okay,
that it's going to be
hold,
tougher, going
Vatsal,
to
Vatsal,
tougher
hold that
people.
thought. Hold that thought, because you've given us a nice discussion point, and on that I want to come to Sathvik Vishwanathan, co-founder and CEO of Unocoin. Sathvik, the point that Vatsal makes and the question that I want to add to it, for those people who feel they are stuck in cryptos, want to get out, can't get out because just in one example it's zero. Bitcoin has recovered. Last 24 hours have changed the scene. Should people stay invested? Should they quit? That's the question that I want you to tell our viewers at this stage.
Yeah, it just depends upon the diversification they have done. If they are like 5 or 10% of their wealth is in crypto, I don't think it is still a wise idea to quit right now. And crypto is not only like speculative as far as technology is concerned, but also the value of it. And one company not following a compliance and doing a wrong thing, yeah, it has affected the larger part of the crypto, other coins and tokens as well. But I believe that the community is strong enough to take this within the available cushion, and it should eventually nullify over a period of time. So, but for
Sathvik, I want a regulatory intervention here. You said one company didn't follow compliance. I argue that in the lack of a legal framework in India, and despite whatever the government has done on taxation, let's leave that aside. In the absence of a framework, there is zero compliance from an investor point of view. So if I or anybody else has invested in crypto, it is 100% risk of that person.
That's true. I totally agree with you. In fact, forget about you investing. You could just launch your own coin and such as well, right? So there could be other people who are investing.
So how do we believe? Then why should we believe the crypto story?
Okay, so I mean, what is crypto bringing to the table that is new, which was not available before, is free and fast transfer of value and tokens from anywhere to anywhere in the world. It's as simple as that. And if you believe that this particular concept will have greater future, then you are believing in the crypto.
But if there are tokens which have no underlying asset linkage, and if some of them, according to me, are misleadingly nomenclatured as UST, T for token and not D for dollar, the average person will get confused, Sathvik.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So it's definitely important for the investor to do their research and get in. It's unavoidable. See, I mean, if people are getting in because of greater returns and at the cost of greater risk.
Greater returns, but at significantly greater risk. Sathvik, please hold that thought there, because we have some slices of previous warnings and notes of caution by the government warning investors. And I once again say, we are not taking sides here, but we are just trying to tell you the reality. Let's quickly take a listen into that.
क्रिप्टो करेंसी का जिस तरह की टेक्नोलॉजी इससे जुड़ी है, उसमें किसी एक देश द्वारा लिए गए फैसले इसकी चुनौतियों से निपटने में अपर्याप्त होंगे। हमें एक समान सोच रखनी होगी। लेकिन आज वैश्विक परिदृश्य को देखते हुए सवाल ये भी है कि मल्टीलेटरल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस नए वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर और नई चुनौतियों के निपटने के लिए तैयार है क्या?
There should be a financial implication on them, and therefore the tax. It wasn't as if we have legitimized them. We haven't said that this is currency. We haven't said that this has intrinsic value, but certain operations are taxable for the sovereign, and that is why we've done this.
You think crypto can last? You think anybody I and my wife are going for a restaurant for dinner at 100 rupees with 100 rupee budget. अरे वहाँ जाके मालूम होता है उसका 80 रुपये वैल्यू है. हमने ऑर्डर किया और बिल आएगा उसमें 20% गया क्रिप्टो का. तो होटल वाला क्या करेगा? या तो बोलेगा बीवी का बांगड़ रख दे. Which sovereign state is going to give the right to issue a currency to any bloody ass? Yeah, it's a fact. One of the biggest power of a nation is the issue of currency. So I think crypto is worse than the Mahalakshmi discourse.
This technology is more than 10 years old. The blockchain technology is nothing new. It did not come yesterday. It has been there for 10 years. The technology, I have said this before, the technology can grow and will grow without cryptocurrencies or whatever name you use to describe cryptocurrencies. So at this point, I would only like to say that when the Reserve Bank of India, as the central bank of the country, which is entrusted with the responsibility of maintaining financial stability, when the Reserve Bank, after due internal deliberation, says that there are serious concerns on macroeconomic and financial stability, there are deeper issues which need much deeper discussion, much more well-informed discussion.
Prime Minister Modi, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala and RBI Governor, and the central theme at a time when close to 1,30,000 crore of money had been wiped out, investor wealth had been wiped out. Aayush Ailawadi, you represent young India in a way, the mood, the desire, the aspiration. And we have seen and we have tracked very closely that being linked to the crypto story. As young Indians today look at the decimation and the recovery also, because, I don't know how many of you actually know this, crypto gets traded round the clock, there is very little regulation, and there aren't specific, stock exchange-like regulated platforms that you can go to, so you can do this 24/7. Is this time for people to take a step back and adhere to basic principles of risk, including what some of our experts from the crypto world are telling us on the show? You cannot put all your investment eggs in the crypto basket. Aayush.
Absolutely, Siddharth. I think you've summed it up perfectly. All of us, and we've said this before at the Business Today Crypto Conclave as well, please get educated about what this is all about. If we want to understand what happened in a nutshell in 30 minutes on the show, it's going to be impossible. Understanding how UST works, how Terra Luna works, how the blockchain works in this case, what kind of safeguards want in place. There's several questions, and there's, anyone you speak to here in London or in Mumbai gives you different answers with their interpretation. Just speaking to the crypto community, you'll actually find out there are a lot of people who are very, very bullish on Shiba Inu are saying, and this is just speculation in terms of what people are saying when we speak to experts, saying Shiba Inu might be the next Terra Luna. I'm just saying that people essentially should be, really approaching this cautiously. And as a technology enthusiast, I would say, let's be cautiously optimistic about it. But yes, let's tread with caution and educate ourselves with the technology that actually underlies a lot of this, crypto revolution, so to speak.
Okay, Aayush, and I also at this stage want to bring to our viewers a recap of how Terra Luna crashed to terra firma and led to a bloodbath in the cryptocurrency market. Let's take a quick listen in.
99.9% value gone. $41 billion wiped out. Collapse of an entire cryptocurrency. The bloodbath in the crypto markets has claimed one of its biggest victims. Not an investor, not a billionaire venture capitalist, but an entire cryptocurrency. Terra, one of the most popular tokens, has lost nearly its entire value in the past 1 week. The digital currency has fallen miserably from a high of $118 in just 39 days, plunging its market cap to just $6 million from $41 billion on the 4th of April, leaving even the staunchest of cryptocurrency believers shaken to the core. So what happened? Terra Luna and Terra UST are cryptocurrencies by Terraform Labs. Terra UST is an algorithmic stablecoin pegged to the dollar. Terra Luna is a volatile crypto dependent on the Terra UST. On the 9th of May, Terra UST witnessed a huge sell-off. Despite efforts to prop it up, the cryptocurrency got depegged from the dollar and plunged 40%. Investors abandoned the sinking ship, and this triggered a crash in Terra Luna, which is now tanked to 99.99%. Top exchanges in India and abroad like CoinDCX, WazirX, Binance have delisted the digital currency. There is very little chance of the crypto recovering. Its founder, Do Kwon, was previously part of another failed stablecoin project. Basis cash and investors expect little. But there still are storm clouds ahead. Not only has the collapse of Terra Luna caused a ripple effect in crypto markets, with top tokens tanking, the fiasco has also raised critical concerns about the so-called stablecoins. There are also fears of a run on the Bitcoin.
Terraform Labs have a non-profit arm which is called the Luna Guard Foundation. Now this foundation has huge reserves in Bitcoins amounting to roughly $3 billion. Now analysts fear any kind of distressed sale by the foundation could possibly lead to a crash in the crypto markets. With camera person Ashwini Helen, this is Aishwarya Paliwal reporting for India Today.
Last minute on the show, Sathvik, coming to you. Is the crypto story over, or should investors retain their faith? A quick answer, please.
It's definitely not over. This is just like one of the many events in the grand thing, like how you say it. I mean, we had these kinds of issues in the past as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, Sharat, the same question. What would you advise?
So I would concur with Sathvik when he says that the crypto story is not over. And let me give you an example of stable coins, how payment giants like Visa and MasterCard are using stable coins for payment efficiency on their networks.
So don't lose faith. There is still a future, and that could be pretty bright for the crypto world, even as the debate on how India will finally treat it remains open. Sathvik Vishwanath, Sharat Chandra, Vatsal Kanakiya, and Aayush Ailawadi, thank you very much for your time on this show, and we will continue to track the crypto world. Stay with us at India Today. More news and programming on the other side.